welcome to Redeeming the Time, a cooking show with people with no skills at all. I'm Jendai, or Jay for short, and this is
Joanne, her mama.
named Joe for short.
Yes.
And we're just going to help you have quick, easy, simple meals that are healthy that you can do anytime at home. So let's get started.
All right.
All right. Okay. So the first meal we have is called kale and corn. This meal came to me. It's a wonderful side dish. So it's just so easy. All you need is a can of corn and then your kale. And we have chopped kale here. I'm just going to make some. And I use dinosaur kale for this. So dinosaur is the one with looks more flat in nature. It comes out a really bright, pretty green. So if you need a side dish, this one is perfect for you to use. So you can start with your butter or your coconut oil. So either one is fine. So coconut oil, how many of you cook with this already? Yeah. Isn't it? It's great for high temperatures. It does wonders. You can use it for anything, for hair, nails, skin, everything. But some people like butter. I think I told you my story. Hello. That butter is, you have butter over there. You have what you need over there. You can just use the butter or the coconut if you want. But so I'm going to put a little in the pan, and then you put your corn in. Put a good amount in there, and again, we're not really skilled cooks, so there's no measuring involved. And then, yeah, at home. And then this is Himalaya sea salt I'm putting on there, and then some pepper and onion powder. And then you just want to, you can use frozen corn, canned corn, whatever works for you for this. And go ahead and you can start as you are ready, Mom. You're all cut and ready to go. And then just chop up the kale. You only need to cook kale for about 3 minutes tops until it's bright green. And that's how you get the nutrients out of it. But the reason why we're featuring kale is because it's so nutritious for you. It has iron, it has protein in it, it has pretty much every mineral most minerals inside of the human body. So it's it's a very strong food to eat on a consistent basis. I'm just mixing this up as we can see. You may want to turn it down a little bit. And you can see there how pretty this looks. And this one is done. That is it. And I use a little more corn, but ideally you use a little bit more kale. But you see how pretty it is? So it makes a beautiful side dish for any party as a side dish. And it takes that quick to do. Anybody want to try it first? Okay. All right, again, medium heat. This is a super easy dish, and it's called cranberries and kale. And everyone loves this dish for whatever reason. It's only 2 ingredients, cranberries and kale. So you use water for the moisture of the plant, and there's a lot of smoke happening, but. And then you put your cranberries in, and these are just regular cranberries, dried cranberries. There you go. And then you use your kale, chopped kale, really small. And you can use the curly or the dinosaur, whatever floats your boat. I'm gonna mix this up. Again, no more than 3 minutes tops, and just till it's bright green and a little limp. And then it makes another beautiful looking dish. Perfect for side dish. Everyone always enjoys it. Let's see who wants to sample first. Thank you. No, you don't need any because it has the cranberries that give it that flavor with the greens if you like sweet. And that's it. That's a wrap, folks. It looks so pretty, but this is another, every time I make it, I get, please make it again. On it. You could use a little, yep, you don't need any seasoning. So it just is a very simple color, and it doesn't look as gorgeous as it usually looks. But so we're going to just use a little coconut oil. And what we're making is greens and onions. So just like it sounds, we're gonna use a mix of greens, not just kale. We're gonna use collards and cabbage as well. So let me grab that. Collards and cabbage. And I'm putting onions in first. So oil in, then onions. And just let that get a little bit tender in here. We want a little bit of the apple cider vinegar. And you'll need some of this too. And now it's ready. So we're gonna start with the cabbage. Just put some in there. And again, if you're just cooking for two, this is a perfect portion here. And this also doesn't take more than, 7 minutes to cook. Collards, these are collard greens just in strips. You can make them any way you want them. And our star of the day, which is kale. I'm so glad we chopped up all this stuff ahead of time. Because if we did it, it would be a whole nother level of mess. So it's just cooking in here. And then the reason why, so Mom asked me to share why redeeming the time, the name of the show. And it just came to me yesterday. We thought we were going to cook together. We didn't know when. But my mom and I have a very long history, as mothers and daughters do. And for us, we didn't have the most happy childhood memories. And so now in adulthood, because God has done such a miracle healing in our relationship and in us, we were able to restore our relationship so that we can build new memories. And He's redeeming the time that was lost and stolen, that the enemy really did take from us with addiction and just tension and lots of struggle, tremendous amounts of struggle in that relationship. Tremendous amounts that I wouldn't wish on anybody. Last thing we would do is the kale. And so we're redeeming the time not only in relationship, but also in the kitchen, because we don't have all day. You are busy people. We're busy people. And when we're cooking, we need nutrition to work really quickly, don't we? So altogether, prep time for most of these meals is less than 10 minutes. And the ingredients are very simple because we need them to be. So you can just get it on your plate. And green vegetables are the #1 food that will help you to steer away from disease, because you see the chlorophyll in them, right? And food is so neat because it actually looks like parts of the body that need it. So if you have respiratory issues, what do you notice in these? Like when you see a leaf, what do we see here in the body? And also a lung, right? So in the bloodstream and the lungs, you want good, healthy blood, which you get from the oxygen and this chlorophyll. It helps the blood cells. And then you also get, just from the lungs, you can see the green in the green veins and all of that represents a respiratory system. So food has an amazing ability that looks like the body parts it needs. You can think of kidney beans, how they can help the kidneys, and walnuts, how they can help the brain. It's fascinating how phenomenal our God is when it comes to food and how He's made it for our health and well-being. So not much ingredients going here. I'm just adding a little seasoning of onion powder, a little salt. This is pink salt, Himalayan salt, that you get more mineral density out of it, unlike the table salt. So you can use sea salt if that works for you, and a little pepper. And you go by taste. So if you love onions, you'll love this dish. If you don't like onions, you may not like it as much. And that is complete. I let it cook a little longer you don't want greens this color, okay? This dark color. You want them very light and very bright, I should say. So let me show you. So ideally you cook until it's a bright green, and that's it. Then it's done, all right? Nice job. All right, now for the bacon meal. This meal is a favorite. It works really well for breakfast. If you really like bacon, this is turkey bacon that we're serving. So assuming you have your pan, you cook your bacon first. And then you're gonna put in a couple pieces of cheese. This is sharp cheddar. You can use American, works really well, or any cheese that you prefer. Cheese does, you don't want to eat cheese too frequently. You want to make sure that you're eating it very seldom because it does drain energy for a lot of people. It clogs up, it gets mucousy, so this is kind of the light type of meal once in a while. But all you do is wait for the cheese to melt a little bit in the pan after you fry your bacon. You could fry it, we baked it, you can bake it as well. And once it gets a little melty, we're going to put that kale in there and toss it around. And all these meals, as you can see, are super easy. You do right on the stove top, don't take you too long. And we're just waiting for this to melt a bit. And what story should we start next? My eggshells and the cookie cakes. One of my things was cookie cakes, so I've made cookie cakes for everybody, as I wrote in chapter 3 of the book Chubby Church. And I loved baking, but I got some eggshells in those meals, so people would eat them with the eggshells in there just because I was so young. They didn't want to hurt my feelings, And you can see this just melting in there. And I'm a busy professional, so I didn't have time to cook a lot. Like, I just don't. I have to make sure it's quick and easy. It's only me. I'm single, no kids, no dog living the dream. But you want to just have it where nutrition is easy. And because we need so much greens, you can even put them underneath whatever you're eating. So let's say, for example, you're eating spaghetti. You just put greens on the plate first and then pile up the other stuff on your plate. So you can add them to whatever works for you, okay? And that's what I started doing, just adding them to the meals I was already eating as a base on the plate. All right, now I added the kale. You don't need any seasoning because the cheese and bacon do it all. And the kale is just kind of like a beautiful green passenger. And that's it. That's it, nice and bright. How was that other dish? Was it okay? Nutritious for sure, right? Okay. All right, and there we go. Okay. Who wants to try it first? Okay. Okay, so now what we're gonna make is a Kale Caesar salad. And we don't need much in here, but I'm gonna start with the croutons. So what I'm using is Ezekiel bread. Has anybody ever had Ezekiel bread? Isn't it nice and hearty? So yes, so we're gonna get some bread out to make our croutons. Okay. Okay, we'll see what we could do with it. And it may not work, that's okay. That's okay. We're only using it to make the croutons. That's all we're using it for, is to make croutons. But it's a hearty bread. It's actually in the scripture. You see on the bag it says Ezekiel 4:9, because it was bread given to Ezekiel to strengthen him when he was weak at a point. So what we're going to do is take off the crust. Say it again.
The crust is the best part.
Yeah, it is the best part typically. But we're gonna make croutons out of it.
Okay.
And you can do this before or after, but the croutons are gonna have garlic, onion powder, salt, pepper, our usual seasonings, and olive oil. And then we'll need to bake them in the oven on 425 for just a few minutes. It's already on, so that works out great.
Do I need to do some bread over here? No?
Okay, so I have chopped garlic or crushed garlic. And then we have We're just videotaping, so we'll try to do as light
Want me to
background
mix it in
noise.
a bowl or?
No, Mom. I'll let you know. So what I'm going to do is just rub a little bit on the oil. Can you tell them? Can you tell them should I talk? Okay, so I'm rubbing in the garlic, and then we're going to have. I'm going to have some onion powder, and a little bit more I think we need here. And once it comes out crusty, we'll chop it up even further. So I'm having salt, which makes a great crouton. Pepper, you just need a little bit. Onion powder, and you might as well put a little bit more garlic because you can never have enough. Does anybody else love garlic, like eating it whole? Isn't it so good? Okay, so I'm gonna put it in onto this cookie sheet. Just needs a little bit more oil. And then we'll bake that for a few minutes, take a little break, and we'll make the rest of the kale salad while that's baking. Okay, nice and fresh. Ideally, you do both sides of the bread, but can you pop that in the oven for me?
Yes, dear.
Thanks, Mom.
You're welcome.
So in the Kale Caesar, you just want to get your kale, so chop your kale, and then romaine lettuce, a little bit of cabbage maybe mixed in there today, and then we need Parmesan cheese because Parmesan cheese makes the world go round. And it's shaved. So I would shave it for you, but again, in a real show, stuff is already done for you, isn't it? You kind of demo it, but. All right, so we're gonna put lots of that in there. Here you go, Mom. And then you'll just add in your croutons and your dressing of choice. And we have two different dressings today. We have a yogurt dressing, and then which is lower fat, so it's only 40 calories per serving. And then we have a full fat, which is 140 calories per tablespoon. But you can taste the difference just to see how similar they are and if you like them. But that's how easy it is to make a really fresh Kale Caesar salad. So Chef Tommy is going to share with us how to make kale chips, which are replacements for real chips.
Absolutely. For those people that really enjoy the crunch, I mean, I think this is a fun recipe. It's really simple. Again, I just take my kale, I cut the stalk off out of it, and then I'm just going to make and let this break up into chip-sized pieces. And I'm just going to get them onto a baking tray. Once I get them ready to go, we're just going to cut that piece off of the back so we're not eating that. And once you want to make sure that you have enough space on your baking tray for this. And then once you know that you're all right on that, basically what we're going to do is we're going to just bring that all together here and sort of pile them up. Going to take just a tiny bit of olive oil.
See, isn't that skill? He's taking a bag of oil and puts a hole in it to get the right drip elements.
And then we're just going to mix that up a little bit.
Yes.
We want to get them nice and covered.
And is the oil seasoned, or are you going to season
No,
it
I'm
too?
going to season in just 1 second. You
Okay.
can put a little seasoning on prior to when you put the olive oil on to try to get a little bit more in, but I found that it doesn't make a ton of difference in regards to that. Then I just use a little blend here of lemon pepper, regular pepper, and garlic. And then I'll just sprinkle that over the top. And again, as Jay had said earlier, it's a lot to taste, so you put on what you think is what you're going to really enjoy. And from that point, it's into the oven, 425 for 12 minutes, and the chips are going to come out nice and crispy.
All right, they're ready. And what we have here.
So
Let me
again,
taste
just
one.
really nice little pieces. Again, it's a great replacement for a chip because it does
Very
have
crispy.
that nice little crunch to it.
Amazing. You can
And
eat
you
all
can-
those you want. You can eat the whole family size bag of these.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And again, spice them however you like. So if you like different spices,
Very good.
try them with different things, and it works really well for making changes to the palate. So
Wow.
it's beautiful.
Great. Thank you, Chef.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
So Chef Tommy also is a specialist in keto cooking, and he has videos on Facebook
Yes, we
and
do.
other places where he makes all kinds of delicious recipes that are fresh, protein oriented, good quality fat oriented, to help you slim down and enjoy your food.
Indeed. So keep a lookout on Facebook for Shrinking Chef Tommy and the Keto Fun Times.
Keto fun time. Okay, so what this is, I'm just going to show you how to make it. It's a quiche. Very simple. You just need your eggs, okay? And I like to split the eggs. I don't do, like, let's say you have 8 eggs. You only need half of those yolks. So that way it's not overkill on the eggs. Now, I have really bad fat metabolism from the sticks of butter I used to eat. So that's my issue. You may not have that issue. Your choice. Then you need tomatoes. Just chopped is fine. And after tomatoes, you want onions. So just regular yellow onions works just as well, that you can put in there. And then you'll need, or you may want, if you don't like them, you don't like them, but sun-dried tomatoes are a favorite of mine, and they give it a little extra smoky flavor. So the sun-dried tomatoes, and of course your kale and your cheese. So you can just use mixed shredded cheese, works just fine. So this isn't a lot of ingredients, but it makes a delicious kale. All you do is mix it all together, put it in your pan on 400 for about 25 minutes, 30 minutes, and it bakes beautifully. You know it's done when you stick a toothpick in it and there's nothing that's coming out, similar to a cake. And we're gonna serve you portions of this delicious kale, and it's well done. Yeah, so there's kale in this. Again, remember, add vegetables to anything you possibly can, even if it's whatever it is, add vegetables to it. That's just what our goal is, okay? All right, that's a wrap for that one. This is Chef Lisa. Chef Lisa is joining us today. She's a personal chef, and she has a company called Gourmet Away. What's so neat about Chef Lisa is that she is Chef of the Year for Denver for USBC. So we're just amazed by what she can do. She does personal catering. So if you ever struggle with your, fitting in real food in your diet, she's able to make it to your specifications and deliver it as a personal chef. It's affordable, but of course it's a premium type of service. And then specializing in retirees and corporate clients. She also works in the catering area, so she specializes in dinner parties and gigs under 100 people. Is that right?
50.
About 50, I'm sorry. So 50 people or less is her specialty. So thank you for being here to teach us some tips.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, Mom. So I just want to share a few tips that I think can help you in the kitchen over and over again. So I'm going to teach you a method of cooking, which is called sauteing, okay? So you could use any kind of protein. It could be chicken, fish. If you're a vegetarian, it could be tofu, pork, beef, whatever it might be. So here's what you want to do. You want to have your protein, season it however you like to season it, salt, pepper, onion, garlic powder, whatever it is. And a lot of times what people do is they will put the skillet on the stove and then they'll put the oil in and then they'll put the meat in. So here's what's important to do. The important thing to do is to get your pot hot first. Nothing in it, okay? So usually medium to high heat. Once it gets hot, and if you put your hand right above it, you'll be able to tell. Then you pour the oil in. I actually like to use grapeseed oil or avocado oil, which is healthier. Now with olive oil, a lot of people might say to use olive oil. Olive oil does not have a high smoking point. So when it hits, it will smoke. And so what you want to use is one of those oils, okay? Once it gets hot, and you'll tell that it's hot because it'll be shimmering, okay? Then you want to take your protein with the seasoned side down, right? And then you want to cook it to about 75%. Okay, so you want a nice brown or a sear on that because we eat with our eyes and it's really important to have the food look good. So after about 75%, then you're going to turn it over for the last 25% and let it finish cooking. You will take your protein, whatever it might be, and move it out to a plate. So you can do this with any kind of meat. The next thing is to add your aromatics. So aromatics could be onions, garlic, it could be a different kind of spice, whatever it might be.
And is it aromatics just because of the smell?
It's the flavor too.
The flavor too.
Yes.
Okay.
And so you add that to your skillet, and then you want to deglaze. So deglaze is where you get all of the bits from the bottom of the pan from the protein. So you add your aromatics. Now your aromatics could be wine, it could be chicken broth, it could be coconut milk, it could be some tomatoes, okay? So you're adding liquid, right? You want that to reduce down, okay? And then if your chicken, some people are really concerned about their chicken not being cooked, you can add your chicken back to kind of coat the chicken, but I also suggest that you have a digital thermometer. People don't like chicken breasts as much because they tend to be dried out, and that's because people want to make sure that it's cooked, that they will overcook it. So if you have a thermometer, cook it up to 160, and then you can take your food out and serve it, and it'll be good.
And just with a gas stove, you can't really tell how hot something is.
Exactly. So a thermometer,
just...
I use a thermometer all the time in my kitchen because I want to make sure that I'm not overcooking food, as well as, I just want it to be cooked properly. We're good.
We're good. That's how to saute. Thank you, Chef Lisa.
Thank you.
So Sparrow and Hawk is a company that specializes in all kinds of amazing fragrances. It's in Philadelphia, but you can order on Etsy.com. And I'm using the lavender soap. It's called Field of Lavender. It makes your hands feel amazing, and it smells even more amazing. So that's just a little share for you. Shout out to Javon Smith, my cousin. All right, so now what we're making is called Sweet Summer Kale Salad. And this salad is an inspiration from Whole Foods, so they actually have it there. And in real life, you would want to let it sit a little more time, but we're just gonna make it quickly. All right, so in this, we're taking our kale, and you wanna chop it really small. It's already pretty small. I'm just gonna make it a little smaller so that you can eat it easily. And we only have 5 ingredients, really. So it's the kale. Make a little bit more. You need almonds, sliced. So I'm just gonna put some in there. Dried cranberries. Sweet. And these are dried apples. Okay, and they make a big difference in the salad. So I'm just going to chop these up a little smaller. You may need a knife.
Can I have a little knife here? Thank you.
Okay. And they're kind of spongy, so if you let it sit a little bit overnight, they taste even better. And there should be more of these, but I ate a lot of them on the way home because I was so stressed out about my show. There really should be more of these things. But, hey, inner glutton gets us all the time, gets us all. All right. And then I have red onions sliced really thin, okay, just really thin there. And then I'm just gonna mix it up really good. And you can add another ingredient. So again, we have kale, red onions, dried cranberries, sliced almonds. And if you want to put a little vinegar in there, you can, and honey works really well with it. And that way it gets more limp. And that is it for your salad. You can add a salmon, would be great on top of this salad. Chicken is fine as well, but salmon just tastes really good with it. And that's it. So, and that's your sweet summer kale salad.